Most parents think their kids need more confidence or more hype or more motivation. But no, your kid needs one thing: a system that spits out that undeniable proof that they're improving. And you know what? That system is boring. It's reps, it's editing, it's repetition, it's reflection, it's recording. It's the work that no one wants to do, but it's the only work that actually works. Everything I figured out comes down to one thing. I look at what's working, I stop doing what's not, and I do what works over and over again. And that's it. If you want to be that expert, make more mistakes than anyone else in a narrow field. And for kids, that means stop chasing new drills or stop chasing more skills, stop jumping between coaches, stop comparing to teammates, stop thinking about different lines that you could be on or different teams that you could be on, and start to get hyper focused on what's stopping you. And that's what we call a bottleneck. So you pick your bottleneck and you do volume, lots of reps on that bottleneck. No matter what training is thrown at you, you make it focus on your bottleneck. Then you do it inside games as well. You focus only on those moments because the other moments you don't have to think about anymore. Then you track proof, you adjust your input, and you repeat. I want you to think back to animals. So with animals, they don't just sit there and the food comes to them. Although, great, that's nice. But what they really thrive on is if the food is delivered to them, they probably will get overweight, they probably won't be very healthy, and they probably won't live as long as the other animal. If you want food, you have to hunt for it, right? That's what they have to do, animals. If they want results, they have to go hunt the food, and they have to get the food to eat and live, right? So if you want food, you hunt. If you want results, you work. And most people are waiting for confidence to be delivered to them. But confidence comes from deprivation, and that's exactly like animals. They get confident because they're starving and they're deprived, and so they get hungry, and so they hunt. And we are very similar to animals. Confidence comes from deprivation and from hunger. So you need to think about that. And so in order to do that, in order to be confident, you have to go hunt and you have to work. And you're in or you're out. So that's what will help with confidence. Figure out what you're willing to cut out to get the thing you want. That might be time. That might be taking away your phone for a while. It might be social events and hanging out with your friends because you're willing to be so hyper focused on the one thing that's going to get you those results, you deprive yourself of the other things. Maybe it's distractions or TV, whatever it is. You need to figure out that input-output equation and eliminate all the other things that don't get you to where you want to be. Now, am I saying don't have fun ever? No. What I'm saying, though, is you can probably do better at engineering your way through your input-output equation so that more of your high-value input that focuses on that number one thing that you want, more of your day is dedicated to that versus the deliveries and the distractions and the time and the social that come easy to you, because that will never get you ahead. So at the start, time is your only currency, and you trade it for one thing: doing as much of the right work as possible, and that will guarantee your success. Because work equals volume times leverage. That's your output. It's not how hard you try. It's how much you get done in the time that you have. And that means reps. That means reflecting, editing, recording, repetition again and again and again. You don't need to feel that motivation. You need to screw your mood and follow the plan. Layla Hormozi says that, although she uses a different word than screw your mood. But you're never going to feel like doing the thing that you need to do to get what you want. You're never going to feel like doing the thing you need to do the most to get what you want. And that's why most people quit. They don't feel like it, so they stop. Or it gets really hard and they try for a bit and they don't get the results and they stop. But that's not you, because freedom, it comes from doing the right boring things in your input-output equation that get you what you need or what you want. So doing the right boring things so many times that you literally can't fail. And that's why I built Compete Code, to teach athletes how to do that. It's not magic, it's a proof stacker. We figure out your kid's input output equation. We build a system where they identify the bottleneck, the number one thing that's holding them back. They do the volume on that work in practices that they're already doing, in games that they're already playing, with coaches and teammates that they already have. They track their proof, they submit their proof, they reflect on it, and they repeat. They start with no confidence and they end with a stack of evidence that says, I am who I say I am. That's proof. That's powerful. That's freedom. And that's why they walk into the big game with their shoulders back, because they've seen this pattern 100 times. Sidney Crosby scored those amazing goals in the Olympics from impossible angles because he's seen it 100 times. And he says that in his interview. How did you know to shoot from that angle? And he's like, I've done this 1,000,000 times. I knew it would go in. Nothing surprised him anymore. And that's what you need to do. Walk into that game with the confidence of doing the pattern 100 times before that. So nothing will surprise you and you'll never crumble under pressure. And it's miserable and hard, but it's absolutely worth it. And it's absolutely what it takes. So here's where most people stop. When it gets miserable, when they're bored, when they wish they had a different feeling. Most people wish, I wish I could feel better doing this. Well, you never really do until you get through it. And then the feeling is like no other. But the only feeling that matters is the satisfaction of stacking, of sticking to the system, of engineering as many good days as possible. So if you're still doing the reps when no one else is, you are still in business. And most people never learn how to work, but you will, and that's why you'll win. My daughter is doing a lot of things right now. She's trying out for a provincial team that she was invited to try out for. She's taking summer courses to get ahead of her academics before she goes back to her academy to play. She has friends coming out that she absolutely wants to hang out with. She has training that she needs to do. And most people would say, oh, she needs a break. Or she can engineer her break in between all of the things that will get her closer to her goal. Because life happens and you don't just get to take a break from it. You just need to engineer it so you get breaks when you need them, but more of your time is working on the things, the high value inputs that will get you to the goals that you want. And her goals are to make that provincial team, to eventually, get into a university with a scholarship, to get really good academics. Those are her 3 things right now. And so, yes, having her friend time and her phone time and all that happens, but not just randomly. She has engineered that into her day. So think about that. You've got to do things you don't really want to do to get to where you want more of the day. If you're sitting scrolling your phone the whole time, and adults too, you shouldn't be surprised that you're in the same spot you were 2 years from now, because you haven't changed your input. You need to work more on those moments than the other moments, the making moments versus the management moments versus the scrolling moments, the wasted moments. So if you look at a pie graph and you pull your time together, your maker moments should be more of the pie graph than your management moments and your, social time moments. And if your maker moments, the maker moments are what makes you, or what makes the thing you want to do happen. If that's the smallest part of your pie, your input-output equation is off. Think about that. You don't need talent. You don't need hype. You need a system that runs whether you feel like it or not. And that's why I built Compete Code. It's not a course. It's not a motivation. It's an execution system that makes you do it under pressure and when you don't feel like it. And if you run it long enough, you'll build an athlete who doesn't crumble because they've already conquered. So if you want to see how Compete Code works, there's many, many ways that you can do it. I've got a lot of free stuff. This is one of them, YouTube channel. I've got a free bottleneck tracker, a proof. I've got Compete Code playbook. I've got a bounce back from setbacks. I've got assessments. You can find all of those online. You can find them on my Insta and my social. Those are free. You have support right off the bat that teaches you how to get started on this work. But if you need a guide and you need to work deeper, I'd be happy to be that person for you. And you can go to CompeteCode.com and get in with me or book a call with me, and you can figure out a way that we can engineer your success. Don't just think about whatever you do. Don't just think about doing these things. Don't nod and do nothing, because that's what most people do. Okay, yeah, I know what I got to do. And then they do nothing. Engineer a system, whatever it takes. Get the system, get your input output equations on track so that you're doing more of your maker tasks and inputs over your management and your social. And if you're doing that, you're going to place rep upon rep upon rep on that, and volume, and get the proof and go.